Hi there, this is Kate. I'm going to do a garden walkthrough for you since a lot of people have been asking me for it. So here I'm in my greenhouse. It's a big greenhouse. It's a new one. I'm still learning how to use it. But let's see here. There we go. There it is. It has an exhaust fan in it. That's an exhaust fan. I have to get another fan so that it can push the air. This one sucks the air out. But right now it's empty because all the stuff is planted. So over here we have some herbs, lemon balm, the oregano I have to transplant, garlic chives and more lemon balm, plenty of lemon balm. Over here I have a beautiful lettuce bed. You can see all that beautiful romaine and the arugula in there. It's a nice mix. And we have spinach as well in this bed. And over here we have some nice celery. This is a celery, fairly normal sized one. This is the giant celery. One of those will do 3 soups. So good stuff. I have brassicas over here. This is my broccoli. You see the broccoli head coming? It's going to be pretty. We have cabbage. I believe that's another, maybe a Brussels sprout. Maybe another broccoli. No, I don't think it is a broccoli. We'll see. And that's another cabbage over there. So, and over here we have some couple of peas growing. I should have tended to them. I think they will come out. There's one next to it. I got to do some weeding. Hopefully they'll come. And you do see some cucumbers. They're going to trellis there. Cucumbers, and cucumbers. So there's quite a few. Over here, this is my tomato bed. I have quite a few tomatoes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's 12 tomatoes, different types in this bed. I don't suggest you plant them so like this, because usually this is an extra large bed. It's 12 feet long by 4. So usually you leave a couple of feet. So I have to start trellising these into the tomato cage. There's a number of ways you can trellis. I'm going to do mine the easy way. This is my strawberry bed. It's not as, I leave this low weed in here, as you can see, because the birds don't see those lovely little juicy tidbits. So you can see if you look real hard, you can see one right now in there, and a couple more over there. They come up every day. It's June. They're June-bearing ones. Over here, these are all bush beans. Something got a couple of them. As you can see, something was chomping. I'm not fond of that, so I had to do some weeding over here. Not sure what's getting in, but I do need to spray them. And I did spray them. So with neem oil and another organic insecticide that's made from herbs. So herb extra, mint and cloves and some other stuff. This is my, these are all my peppers. Hopefully I'll get some decent peppers. We have some coming up already. That one's very small. It's probably going to stop the plant from reaching its full maturity. Typically it's either growing up or it's growing fruit, so I may have to abort that one. Over here I have 3 eggplant growing. That's typically enough. I'm really the only one in the family that eats it. This is a mini tomato. You have tomatoes on here already growing. This is a rogue raspberry that comes up. They all come up. Usually I give them away. Another chives, a garlic chive, and that's a mini tomato given to me by my friend Rose. So over here, these are all summer squash. The summer squash and zucchini. Zucchini is a summer squash in its own right. But they'll grow big and bushy. The rest of those are weeds, and I weeded 2 days ago. So I need more mulch and more weeding. Over here, this is wonderful. I want to show you this. I cut this back pretty much every year, but this is a very woody, that's a big piece of wood in there, right? This is a woody sage. It's a wonderful sage. This is a weed. It's a wonderful sage. It gives me great flavor for a lot of stuff. Not too strong, but it's good for savory dishes. Over here, this is the bed where I planted potatoes last year. They didn't make it because of all the rain. Unfortunately, so I planted, I said the heck with it, and I planted some perennial asparagus, but the asparagus looks like it's not going to come up. I mean, sometimes it takes a couple of years. I planted them from bare root plants, crowns they call it, but last year's potatoes started coming up. As you can see, when you see a potato with a purple flesh on that side, you can be sure that's a purple potato. These are my garlic, as you can see right here. Can you see this? This little thing. This is a garlic scape. When the garlic scapes grow on the hardneck garlic, you have to remove them, because when you remove them, it's the plant trying in vain to actually create a seed, viable seed. Doesn't usually succeed. So we have to remove that in order for the plant to concentrate on growing us a nice fat bulb. Every once in a while you'll see a plant that looks like that. That is a Jerusalem artichoke, also known as the sunchoke, the most viable and nutritious native North American tuber. Looks like ginger, tastes nothing like ginger, and isn't in the ginger family. It's not in the potato family or really in the sunflower family, but it can be invasive. More potatoes coming up from last year that I did not plant. These are interesting enough. These are Egyptian walking onions on the top here. Instead of creating an allium flower, it's going to create a series of tiny allium bulbs. Once they're ripe, I will remove those bulbs and I'll plant them right into the ground for next year's plants. That's why they call them walking onions, because if let to grow, the plant will die and fall over, and the bulbs that are on the end will actually create next season's bulbs. These are also some onions that I have growing. I need to actually put more soil down because they're thirsty. And here's our potatoes that I did not plant. And here are a lot of extra plants and a lot of herbs that are coming up. This one here, for example, this, if you can look really, really close at it, this little purple one, can you see it? It's too shaded, huh? That little purple one, that's purple basil. That bed actually has a lot of basil in it. I have to weed it, though, because it's got some weeds coming through. So it's got multiple types of basil in this bed, but I do have to keep it weeded. So, all right, so let's go over here. I'll show you my new beds. Okay. I'm here also growing potatoes. This bed has 6 inches of soil, and then I put the potatoes down, and then I'm covering it with old hay. So typically you'd cover it with dirt. However, I'm trying out this new technique. I've heard a lot about gardening with hay, so I wanted to try it. This here is basically a similar thing, only there's no soil in the bottom. This is all 100% hay, and I've conditioned it with some strong nitrogen fertilizer and put the potatoes. So we're actually doing some scientific experiments here, not unlike me. So here, these are coming. As you can you see this wrapping around? These are my pole beans, and they're going to trellis right up these old contraptions that used to be part of an old gazebo that I had. Here, I'm delighted to see some germination. These are actually the first of my carrots to start germinating. See them over here? Those are carrots germinating. Very excited to see this whole bed is going to be, even though you can see this bed that has hay underneath. They both have hay underneath. Anytime you have a root vegetable, even though the root vegetable may only be 4 inches long or even an inch, they still like deep beds. So, also, by the way, within these pole beans, in the middle, those are radish. They take only 3 days, 3 weeks from seed to fruition. These are some extra tomato plants that I had, that I started from seed. I might as well use them up. And again, I put some radish in there because the radish is actually going to permeate the soil to allow for root development of those plants. That's my thought, and that's what I'm hoping for. Okay, over here. Oh, no, I didn't finish. Over here, these are my winter squash. They're all the way down that aisle. I have to put a big trellis up. You see some of them are enjoying it. They're flowering for me. You see the flower? See the flower? These are probably maybe delicata or something. Let's see if I can see a tag. The tag's around somewhere. It really is. Here we go. This is spaghetti squash. Spaghetti squash loves in my yard. I have spaghetti squash. I have butternut, honey nut, and tromboncino squash growing. So in here on the ends, I had some extra plants, kale, and maybe some extra peppers and what have you, and I just stuck them in here to see what happens. All this has to be removed. That fencing is from last year, and that fencing has to be removed as well. That's coming down probably tomorrow, maybe later today. This is a bed that had probably, I don't know, in some places probably 8-10 inches of soil. And just like the other bed, I planted the potatoes, hilled them over with dirt, and then instead of continuing to add dirt, I added old hay instead. So this doesn't belong here. And this is a raspberry, blackberry. It doesn't belong here either. So see, potatoes typically grow up, and where there's no soil, you'll get no potatoes growing. So you have to put something around them. So that's why I keep filling it up with hay, because that's what I have. You see, it's old hay. I have some down here. I'll pull it up here and just kind of put it in here. Wrap it around these plants. There we go. It's actually really old, and it's turning into compost, which is not a bad thing. Okay, I'll finish that. Finish that later. Okay. So, we'll move up here and see. These are raspberries. These are golden ever-bearing raspberries, sweet as candy. Every once in a while you'll see a blueberry bush, but they don't see. Here's a blueberry bush, but they're getting really crowded out, and there's nothing I can do about them because they're too big to move at this point. But the raspberries are definitely bullies. So if I had it to do all over again, I certainly wouldn't grow the blueberries in the same vicinity as the raspberries. I do get blueberries though, but just not a lot. So I have these. Part of it is covered. I tried to cover it, but it seems like the raspberries always find a way to grow through. So we'll come around to the other part of the garden here, and you can see this black plant seeded here, and I tried to germinate this little thing about 10 times and it didn't work, so finally I got it to go. So she came out and we named her Mel. Okay, these are wild blue raspberries. See, you turn it over and it's blue underneath. That means it's a it's a raspberry. If you turn it over and it's green underneath, it's a blackberry. And you see the cane, the stem is blue. That another indication that it's a raspberry. These are summer bearing wild raspberries. And look at how many on these plants. This plant is absolutely chock full. Everywhere you look, you'll see raspberries. It's going to be a wonderful season for them. And they're all volunteers. Used to be a tree here, and I had to cut down, and I cried. But it was obscuring a lot of my light for the garden, so I had to do it. But I got a lovely thank you from Mother Nature. So over here, another volunteer. This is another area where we have volunteer raspberries, but look at the flower. Look at the fruit coming on that one. Everywhere you look, you see the fruit coming. And you see that that is also a blueberry. I mean, a raspberry, because it has blue leaf underneath. Okay. So we'll go out to the other beds. Hopefully my little black plant will stay inside. We have more raspberries here in this area, volunteers. I hate to kill anything that's trying to feed me. We have over here, we have wild blackberries. You see, you turn the leaf over, and they're green. And you see that, see those thorns? Look at the size. Can you see the actual size of those thorns? They've got to be half an inch or more. This is spiderwort. It's the bane of my existence. I tried to have it all dug up. The roots are feathery and at least a foot deep. So I failed miserably, and I don't use chemicals in my yard. Over here, in this bed, this is my melon bed. I know it looks like it gets some shade, but it does get some amount of sun as well. And I wanted it to stay clear of any kind of pests that I couldn't see. So I have it out here. It reminds me every time I go out that I have to look for pests and water it. Over here, this is my corn. Last year, the raccoons in the back got my corn, even though I have a 6-foot stockade fence. So I also have some beets and some carrots growing, although I don't see any signs of germination of those carrots. Carrots are weird. They come up when they want to. Over here, these are so pretty. There's a lot of life in here, so bear with me. These are all Montauk daisies. They don't come up until maybe October, September, and then I'll see a whole flush of them. Down here on the ground, you see these plants, and you'll see here, this is the milkweed, common milkweed. I haven't really had any decent Crystallis from the Monarch in a few years, so I'm hoping this is a different year. Over here you see these big, huge, these are so beautiful. Look at that. Look at how many big, huge bearded irises on that puppy. That's just beautiful. And look at these here. These are the beginnings of my hydrangea. I have one of those hydrangeas. If you give it acidic soil, they turn blue. If you give it basic soil, they turn pink. But mine's usually deep purple. So actually I have a couple of different types of bushes in here, but they're all basically similar cultivars. Here I have some lemon balm growing. Lemon balm grows very nicely in my yard. And more iris here. These are smaller ones. Look at the size of this iris, okay? How huge that is compared to my hand. And then see, this one's a little bit smaller. Okay, so we have all that here. And a lot of milkweed. If you need any milkweed, you're more than welcome to ask me for seed, but understand it has to be cold stratified or you'll never get any. Over here, again, these iris, I think I started with 2, and they do spread, and I don't want to remove them because I kind of like them. And here we have more milkweed over here. Those are my my rhododendron azalea. I think that, I'm not sure whether it's an azalea or rhododendron, to be honest with you. But I think it must be an azalea because they're past their prime. This is like 3 or 4 different bushes, slightly different cultivars. So over here we have a lot of lilies growing. We have salvia, pretty salvia. We have some pansies. We have over here some Asiatic lilies. They're my favorite. They're so beautiful. We do have some phlox. Hopefully that will spread. And we have a couple of other ground covers in here that will be coming up. So, and believe it or not, more lilies that are going to be coming up as well. So I think that's about it, folks. So, thank you for tuning in.